What's up, everyone, and welcome back to another video. In this video, we're back on the Lions mailbag. I think this is mailbox. I said mailbag. Mailbox. This is episode number 5, I think. Episode number 5. I mean, these are one of my favorite videos to do. They're kind of easy for me, and it's kind of cool to get different thoughts and questions that I can just answer with my thoughts. You guys can go in the comments and answer other people's questions. I think it's just easier because, you know, I do some videos where I have to come up with all these ideas. Some people like them. They're all hit and miss. You know, it's hit and miss when you do a video about a draft because some people may not like the player you pick. But these, you guys are asking questions. You're looking for my input on it, so I give it to you. And I think it's a cool series. I've enjoyed doing these. I think you guys do as well. The support's usually pretty good, so hopefully it's like that again. Anyways, I'm going to be reacting to some of these questions. You guys can comment below your answers to these questions as well and your thoughts. Let's just kick this thing off. Let's start off with Zeke Thick Flux. Like Thick Flex? Is that what it is? No, I don't know. Okudah, Simmons, or Brown. Personally, if we're not talking about trades, I'm taking Simmons. The difference here is that if you're talking about selecting, it's a lot different because I think you can't trade back and get Simmons. I don't think that's possible. But I do say that if you want to get Jeffrey Okudah, you could actually acquire picks and still get him, and it still fills out a need. So it's a little bit different there. I don't see you acquiring picks and getting Isaiah Simmons. Just doesn't seem very likely to me. But again, if I had to just pick those 3 players and just put them in a room, I said which one's the best player. I know they play different positions, but which one's the best? I would go with Isaiah Simmons. So that's just my thoughts. Next up, Zeke's got another question. He says, will you continue to do the Madden takeover, the week-to-week one with the Lions? I need to bring that back. That's something that we kind of stopped with when I kind of stopped doing DoseOfDion gaming for a while. I've been, on and off here. It's hard to do both, like right now. But I'm trying to get, the face of the franchise going. That's something that I think I will bring back. I think the sport is really high on that one because a lot of you guys are, well, you're all Lions fans, right? So the sport is a lot higher there because, there's other Lions fans that get to watch it and connect with it. So we may bring that back. I probably will start a new season. I don't even remember what happened in the last one. I don't remember where we left off. I probably won't even be able to find the file for it. So I'll probably restart. But that's probably a good idea. Maybe we'll do that around draft time, kick that thing off again. Maybe we'll do it after the draft. That way rosters could be updated. If Madden would fix their problem of you not being able to download community roster. If I could download a community roster, that'd be great because then I could download who we draft. So maybe we'll wait till after the draft. Maybe we'll start before. I don't know. But that's a good question, and we need to bring that back. Zeke has another one. He says, would you be fine with taking DPJ in the third? Yes, I would have no problems taking DPJ in the third. I think we have 3 main needs. Guard, edge, corner. If we fill out those 3 needs, I'm happy. And, I don't think, they need to be in that order, but I do think, we need to fill those out somehow. I think guard and, edge rush for me are the 2 biggest needs, and then corner is like a big need, but like kind of, I don't really know how to explain it. But I do say that Donovan Peoples-Jones, with our 2 third-round picks that we have now, and especially if we trade back, I'd be fine with it. He's from Detroit. I mean, he's not from Detroit, but he's in Michigan for college. Obviously, he picked the right college there. So I don't know. I mean, I would have no problem with it. We need a wide receiver for next season anyways with all these guys off contract. So adding wide receiver like Donovan Peoples-Jones would be awesome. I would have no problem with it. I mean, I think we have to add a wide receiver somewhere with how deep this is and the fact that all these guys have their contracts up after the season. We have to add some wide receiver, and if it could be Peoples-Jones, why not? So yes, I'd be fine with that. Next up, we got Jacob. He says, get Yannick and Jaguars number 9 for the 3rd pick. They get Simmons, we get Okudah. Okay, cool. So we get Yannick. Now, the whole big concern with all these guys are the contract. I really don't know how the contract would work out. Lions would have to figure out how to extend him and Kenny Galladay, and they pay a pretty good amount this year. But aside from the contract aspect, that sounds good. However, I think if you get the 9th pick, you're not going to get Okudah. I could see the Panthers taking him. You're dropping back to 9. I don't see him lasting 9. He might. I'm not saying he can't. He might, but I don't see it. It would be a solid trade if you're just looking at talent. But again, the money is really where the problem is here. I don't know if the Lions could afford it, but if they could, then I wouldn't have a problem with it. I wouldn't be mad if they did it. I don't see them doing it, but I wouldn't be mad if they did it. All right, next up, he says, Jacob again, he says, what running back do you want in the draft? I don't have a specific running back that I'm looking at. I really don't. I've looked at a lot, like Zach Moss. Cam Akers is nice. A.J. Dillon is nice. You look at the top 3 running backs, obviously the big 3. Obviously the big 4, I would say. LSU, Georgia. LSU, Georgia, Ohio State, Wisconsin. Those 4 running backs, from those schools, very, very good players. So I really don't have a running back that I love. I don't think I have a running back that I hate either. I think there's multiple different ways to just where you want to go, right? I think you got to look at what round you're going. If you're going mid-round, you could get a starter. If you're going early round, you should definitely get a starter. If you're going late round, maybe you're just getting someone to rotate in and out. So I don't have a problem with anyone. I do think they will draft somebody. I wouldn't be surprised if they do, at least for some competition. But I do think it'll be really late in the draft. I don't think they'll do it early. Even though it'd be kind of cool to have a nice, really good running back, I don't think they're going to do it. I think the Lions will wait till 6th, maybe 7th round to take one. So maybe even 5th, maybe 5th. I don't know. We'll see. Tucker wing 9. Okay. Could you see Amani as a number 2 corner if we draft Simmons? Yes, I could definitely see Amani starting at number 2. Now, I think we'll draft another cornerback. That doesn't mean just because we passed on Okudah, we just, that's it for corner. No, I think we had a Darryl Roberts. You have Justin Coleman at slot. You have True Fight, and you have Amani. I think we'll draft one in this year's draft. It doesn't have to be Okudah. I think it could be a mid-round pick. It could be a second-round pick. I think Diggs could be an option. I think Cameron Dantzler. I think there's tons of corners in the mid-rounds that make sense. Or if the Lions want to say that's not even that big of a need, and they want to wait till later and get a Lamar Jackson, maybe Lavert Hill, they could go that route and just add strictly depth. I don't know. It depends on what they're going for, but I think Amani could be number 2. What we saw last season, he showed that he could be a starter. So I would have no problem him starting, but I would definitely like to add at least one more corner in the draft. I don't know where. It doesn't really matter where, to be honest. I'd be okay with Okudah. I'd be okay with a Diggs. But I definitely think we should add another one, but I could see Amani starting for sure. What could you see as a realistic trade back package we could get, and who could we select with those picks? I could definitely see a realistic trade package with the Dolphins and the Chargers. I could definitely see the Lions pulling one of those trades, just because that way they don't have to move too far back. I actually did a prediction video. I don't want to spoil it, but I will say that I could see them moving back with one of those quarterback needy teams, realistically, acquiring maybe a second in the late round, maybe a future pick as well, and then getting, maybe Jeffrey Okudah, or even if Simmons is there, I don't think he will be. So I think Okudah is a very realistic pick for us. But again, I think there's a lot of ways you can go about this. But I would say something like that. Any of those two quarterback needy teams, maybe the Jaguars, I don't know. Maybe the Raiders, I don't know about those two teams. I don't think they're going to be looking to trade up. So I could see those two teams. I think those are the most realistic options, and they just make a lot of sense. Next up, for Holmes_Tyler, he says, Lions trade, oh wow, this is a long one. Okay. Lions trade a 3rd and 5th round pick. Okay, it's 3rd and 5th round pick for Gilmore. Then Lions trade pick 3 to Dolphins for 5 and 26. Okay. Then trade 5 to Jaguars for 9 and 20. Here's the thing. Okay, let me stop right there. I don't think the Jaguars would take 5 for 9 and 20. I don't think they would do it, because the Jaguars, unless they wanted Okudah. If they wanted Okudah, maybe that'd be the one option they would have to go for there. They could try to get their next Jalen Ramsey possibly. So you're saying we go get Gilmore. I'm okay with that. I'm good with that. 3rd and 5th for Gilmore. I'm down. We pick number 3. So we give 3 to Dolphins, 5 and 26. Okay, if we can do that, that'd be nice. So you're saying at 9 and 20. We would have 9, 20, 26, 35. Take Wirfs with 9. Queen with 20. Epinesa 26. Taylor with 35. Would this be a better scenario than getting Alvin Kamara in a trade with the Saints, or could we acquire Kamara and Gilmore? Okay, I don't know if we get Kamara and Gilmore. Okay, would this be better? I wouldn't take Queen at 20, but I kind of see where you're going for there, and I have no problems with it. I see what you're going for there, because he is a coverage. He can cover at the linebacker position, which is nice. Kind of small, but he can cover. Tristan Wirfs, again, would be great. I'm a big offensive line, so you got me there. Putting, maybe moving Big V to guard, putting Wirfs to tackle, or the other way around. Epinesa, I like Epinesa as well, and you're getting Jonathan Taylor, who's one of my favorite running backs. So, again, I think this is a great scenario on paper. Obviously, if we could somehow pull it off, it'd be great. One problem I see here is that if we have Gilmore, we're going to have to pay Gilmore and the 3 first-round picks. I think we have the money to do that. I'm pretty sure we'd be fine, but I'm just, pointing that out just to make sure it's financially possible. But assuming it's financially possible, it'd be really nice to have a 2-year corner in a guy like Stephon Gilmore that's the best cornerback in the league. Let me just say it like that. So he'd kind of take the need away from getting Okudah. Then you'd get, you're filling out a linebacker, you're getting an offensive lineman, you're getting an edge rusher and a running back. I mean, that's a great scenario. If that could somehow play out, that'd be awesome, but I don't know if it would. But again, I would be down for it, so heck yeah, hopefully that turns out as a possibility. What receivers make sense for the Lions in the draft, and what pick? Ooh, okay. Yikes. I would say not first round. I wouldn't even go second round wide receiver. I would say 3rd round at the earliest. Peoples-Jones, definitely a guy. I think it depends. I mean, I really don't think there's a bad wide receiver we could take, because I think we could use both an outside and a slot. I would say it's more of a chance that Danny Amendola is not back after this year. But I definitely could see Marvin Jones also not being back after this season and getting extended. So I think it doesn't matter what kind of size wide receiver you go for. It's just which one you prefer. Like, what wide receiver do you like? I think, if you want to go slot, I think there's a lot of good slot options. I think KJ Hill would be solid in like the 4th round. I think Devin Duvernay would be a solid late round pick, because he's got tons of speed. Getting a guy like that could help at return position, give you an absolute speedster. Or you can go outside. I think there's Quintez that could play outside. I think he could be a day 1 starter, but I also think that he would jump in a slot possibly. I think you're looking outside. I'm not going for like a 6'6" wide receiver. I'm looking for more of your, standard 6'2", 6'3", sort, just kind of all around good, good players. So I would say maybe like a Juwan Jennings, something like that. I really don't think there's a bad wide receiver out there for us. I don't know. I'm trying to think. I haven't looked at tons of wide receivers. I've looked at a few. I liked Quintez a lot. I'm trying to think of who else I've looked at like heavy like that. I've definitely looked at some sleepers, so I'm not sure. I don't know if there's any wide receivers that I don't love. Henry Ruggs' catch percentage was kind of low. That actually kind of concerned me a little bit. But honestly, as long as it's not in the first 2 rounds, I think they all make sense. Unless a guy in the second round falls that's like a heck of a player. But still, I don't know if I'd go that route unless you get to trade back. All right, Simmons in round 1, Trayvon Diggs in round 2. I'm in. I'm good for that. I would love to trade back, acquire picks. But Trayvon Diggs, I've actually watched him today. Trayvon Diggs got the kind of... He's got the attributes that I think Patricia would like. I think some people look at him more as his own corner, but he makes a lot of big plays in man. He's an opportunistic corner that I feel like he almost does this on purpose. He kind of just lets the wide receiver get some room and then tries to close on. He's got great closing speed. He does get burnt though sometimes. He's got good closing speed though. He's got the size. I could definitely see this being an option for the Lions. I mean, he makes plays. And if you want a playmaker, I think Trayvon Diggs could be that guy. And I think he's related to Stephon Diggs. Is that his cousin or brother? I think they're related. So I think this guy could be a starter. His profile prospect says that he'll be a starter within 2 years. I could definitely get down for that. And yeah, and then in the third round, maybe go get a guard or a special player not a special player. I said maybe go get a guard or a playmaker on the outside, someone like that. So sure. Would you take Anthony Gordon at 5th? Yes, I would, because he was with Matt Patricia at the Senior Bowl, so I could definitely see that being a big option. I talked about Fromm. He's my favorite quarterback prospect. I do like Anthony Gordon as well. There's definitely some concerns when I look at certain quarterbacks. Anthony Gordon had a couple of concerns. I can't remember exactly what they were. I think Anthony Gordon's concerns were turning the ball over. I think that was one of them, but he also made a lot of big plays. So I'd be fine with it because he was with Patricia. So I'm assuming that, at the Senior Bowl, maybe they got to know him a little bit and hopefully they have a solid relationship. How early do we take a wide receiver? That's a good question. I would say round 3. I would say round 3 at the earliest. Dream pick in round 2. Ooh, that's a good question. Depends on what the first pick will be. It does depend on our first pick. Man. You know what? I'll just give you a couple options then. I would say dream pick in round 2. I think Epinesa is probably up there. I think if Epinesa fell the second round, that'd be really nice. Cesar Ruiz, honestly, I think that's a sleeper dream pick. I'm a big guy in stacking that O-line, so I think Ruiz is one of those. I'm trying to think of who might fall. I'm trying to think of guys that could fall out. Maybe a Gross Matos, maybe not. I would say those two. I like those two, Epinesa and Cesar Ruiz, is some nice picks in the second round for sure. Yeah, those are probably the 2 ones I like. But I do like some other players. I think, we have a lot of options sitting so early at round 2. Trayvon Diggs, again, could be very nice for us. I'm really starting to like Diggs the more I'm watching him. So, yeah, hopefully that answers your question. That was a bad answer. I'm sorry. Ramiro, okay, says, I saw this on NFL Top 10 vote thing, and it was about the best wide receivers in the league right now. Them guys actually had Adams over Galladay. Agree or disagree? Disagree. Let's keep it simple. Come on, get out of here. Players you could see possibly regressing next season, or players you could see at Lions movie trade deadline. Possibly regressing? Oh, man. I would say players that I could see with a smaller role this year. Jared Davis, I would not be shocked. I mean, I'm rooting for him, and I think, Matt Patricia and the coaching staff do like him, and hopefully with our new linebacker coach, he gets better. But with the addition of Reggie Ragland, there's going to be comp there. I wouldn't be shocked if, some of that competition was tough. Honestly, Will Harris, and I know he's young, and I don't want to do this, but Will Harris is one of those guys that I think if we added another safety, he could definitely have some competition for sure. I don't think so, though. I think he's young, and I think he's going to be fine. I don't think we're going to go and grab another corner. Not with Harmon and Tracy Walker, but I don't know. I mean, maybe if we did it. Who else could be? Maybe a Jamal Agnew, possibly if we get a nice one of these wide receivers or corners that can return. If they take that role, he's kind of out of a role. But again, I hope all those guys ball out. I don't want to see any of that happening. Where is George now? Why should Lions fans be excited for the draft, specifically pertaining to Bob Quinn's historical success in the draft? I think if you look at Bob Quinn's, I did a video on this, so you should definitely go check it out if you haven't. I think the thing with Bob Quinn and his drafts are that he's missed on a lot of early picks. He's also hit on a lot of gems, and that's kind of the thing with Bob Quinn. He's an inconsistent picker, I would say. Third round, he's on fire. Second round, not so much, right? John DeFi wasn't bad, but second round, like this, historically a little bit like this. First round, hit and miss. Okay, I'm not going to judge Hockenson, but it's definitely been hit and miss with him. So I'd say be excited because there's a potential that he hits on some gems like a Kenny Galladay or a Joe Dahl, and also just be excited for the ride, because it could be really good, it could be really bad, but we know that the Lions need to have a big offseason. So be excited that it could work out. You should always be excited for the draft, okay? Always be excited. What's the bigger need for the Lions, drafting running back or wide out? I'd go wide receiver. I'd say wide receiver because of the depth that we have. I can see why you say running back, but I'd go wide receiver just because of next season. But this season, not really. Honestly, this season, I could say running back almost. I would say it's pretty much tied, but next season, definitely wide receiver. What do you think of Jordan Elliott, worth it at 35? Take him if he falls to the third round, trade up late in the second, stay away. I would say in the third round, I could say that could make sense. I wouldn't do it at 35. I think that's a reach. I do think he's a very good defensive lineman, and I think he's underrated as heck to be looked at as a 4th, 5th round pick. But second round, I think is too early. I don't want to go defensive line necessarily with our second round pick. And that's not to say I don't like defensive linemen, because I would love Javon Kinlaw or Derek Brown. But I wouldn't do that in the second round. I just think in the second round, I'm looking for more of an edge rusher, possibly a cornerback, or maybe even an offensive lineman. I wouldn't go Elliott second round. Maybe third. I could see third. I wouldn't trade up for him, but I could see third. Next up, we got Tucker Wing again. He says, do you like Ben Bredesen as a day 3 pick? Yes. Day 3 would be a steal for me. You get him in the 4th round and later, that'd be a very nice pick. I think he could compete for that left guard position with Joe Dahl. He would add a lot of comp there, and that'd be nice. You know, adding competition is great, and I love stacking the line again. He's from Michigan, so he's good. If we got Isaiah Simmons, how do you think the Lions would use him? Safety, linebacker, hybrid? Definitely a hybrid. I think he'd do multiple different things. I don't think Isaiah Simmons would be set in one position. I think with our defense that's always changing, play in and play out, I could definitely see this guy moving all around. I could see some formations where he's just the lone safety. Maybe some formations he's a middle linebacker, like an inside linebacker. Some formations I could see him playing outside linebacker, almost like a slot in like goal line, almost playing like a cornerback. Yeah, I think he'll move around like crazy, and that's why I think he'd be really like just a freak in our defense. Do you think we need another young playmaker on offense in the 1st or 2nd round, being the offensive league now? I could see running back. I would say O-line. You know, I know it's not a playmaker, but I think that's what sets up playmakers. So I would rather round 1 and 2 go offensive line than go wide receiver, running back. I would say running back this season. You could go wide receiver. I wouldn't go wide receiver 1st or 2nd round, honestly. I could see running back, but honestly, O-line. I think O-line makes the playmakers make plays, and you need Stafford healthy. Do you think that we draft a running back or Bo takes secondary? That's a great question. I have no idea. I don't know what we're going to do. I can't imagine my Lions moving on from Bo or Ty. I could see them moving on for Kerryon. At the same time, I could definitely see them drafting running back because of, I don't know. I'm sorry, Nolan. I can't answer that question. I have no idea, dude. I'm sorry. Can anybody? What do you guys think? Who is your favorite line right now, and who's your favorite player in this year's draft? And if we trade back to a team that needs our 3rd pick, what do you think is the best we would get in return? Favorite line right now is Stafford. Favorite player in this year's draft? Chase Young and Isaiah Simmons are probably neck and neck for that spot. Man, Chase Young would be a beast, but so would Isaiah Simmons. Jake Fromm, as the picture states, Jake Fromm's my favorite quarterback. I do like Trayvon Diggs, man. I've been watching that guy's kind of a beast. If we trade back to a team that needs our needs our 3rd pick, what do you think would be the best? And Shea Patterson. A best return for us would be a 2nd first round pick. I think if we, depending on how far we move back. Now, we move back with like the Raiders, 12 and 19 would be a great return. But if we're moving back with the Dolphins or probably the Dolphins, a 2nd first round pick would be very nice. I think that's the best we'd get. Next up, the final one. It says, Alabama Trayvon Diggs will probably be available 2nd round. Any thoughts on him? Well, I think I've given it throughout the video. I would definitely be fine with taking him. So that's it. That's all your questions. And yeah, hopefully I didn't miss any. I'm definitely going to miss some because people are going to be commenting later. Just know that you maybe get it on the next mailbox. Be as early as possible if you can. I'm sorry, there's no way to turn on notifications. Maybe we'll do a part 2. We'll see. I do appreciate all of you stopping in. Thank you for watching, and I'm out.